Nama Bengaluru, a city with many monikers. The Garden City, the Silicon Valley of India, the pub capital of India. These are just some of the names this vibrant city is known by. But beneath all this, there is a secret. Bengaluru has a rich, ancient past. Founded in 1537 as a fort built by Kempegowda, Bengaluru is older than cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, and Mumbai. And the best part is, you and I can walk down these streets today. The echoes of the past are everywhere. Prepare for a journey back in time as we rediscover Bengaluru's forgotten history.
Good morning, folks. I hope you're ready for another day of exploration. We are back here at the Bengaluru Pete, and if you recall, behind me, that's where we entered the city in the last episode, near the Halasuru Gate police station. Well, in this episode, we're going to explore the Old Taluk Cutchery road,
an artery of the Bengaluru Pete that runs from the east to the west. Along the way, we get a cross-section of the various markets in the Pete. We also get special access to the upper floor of the historic Mohan Building. Join us and discover what life was like in the Bengaluru Pete. The outer gate of the Halasuru Gate stood right here at this junction. Let's begin our journey at this spot. Bengaluru's first traffic signal was inaugurated here in 1963. On the other side, once stood the Badami house. Originally known as the George Oaks Building, it was built during the British Raj and belonged to the entrepreneur George Henry Augustine Oaks. The building once housed the British and American libraries. Over the years, Badami House was home to the Karnataka Chalanchitra Academy, the film unit of Department of Information and Public Relations, the Karnataka State Tourism Development Corporation, and the State Bank of India. In the 80s, its Priyadarshini Preview Theatre regularly organized film premieres. Filmmaker and sound recordist Sarvottam Badami bought the property from Oaks and later sold it to the Bucks Ranka developers. A legal dispute followed, with the Karnataka government claiming ownership of the property, stating it as a heritage property. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Bucks Ranka developers who held valid ownership documents. The Badami house was demolished in 2017, leaving behind only traces of its presence.
Alright, folks, so the old Halasuru Gate would have been in this junction, and it would have opened up to this road, which would have been the road going through the cacti patch. There's no gate here today, but you do have a nice ornamentary entrance. I guess that counts.
We are currently walking along what would have been the avenue that cut through the cactus patch.
Alright, folks, I'm walking down the cacti patch, which would have been here for the Pete's defense. I would imagine back in the day there would have been a little dirt path. That's it, like just a small dirt path that would have let people access the old city. We have reached the end of the cacti patch. This should be a little familiar to you actually, because that was the eastern inner wall, and we walked through that area over there. And behind me is the beginning of the Old Taluk Cutchery road.
Like other city gates in Bengaluru Pete, temples are located near the inner gate. This map shows that there were guard houses at the entrance of the Old Taluk Cutchery road. Although not confirmed, it is possible that the guard houses were later converted into temples we see today.
Alright, so we are entering the Old Taluk Cutchery road, which is nowadays, which has been renamed to the Sri Dharmarayaswamy Temple Road. And it's actually named after a temple which you're going to see next. So the road is now being renamed after this temple. This is the Sri Dharmarayaswamy Temple. Initially it was thought to be built by Kempegowda himself, but recent research has shown that it actually predates the city. It's at least 800 years old.
Though the temple is named after Dharmaraya, another name for Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, the temple is dedicated to Draupadi and the Pandavas. It was built by the Tigala community who continue to uphold its traditions. Archaeological features suggest that the temple is over 800 years old, predating the modern city of Bengaluru. The Garbhagriha or the Sanctum Sanctorum reflect the Western Ganga dynasty style. While the Gopuras or the entrance towers reflect the later Vijayanagara style. Every year, the temple becomes the center of Bengaluru's most iconic event, the Karaga festival. In this 10-day festival, a priest dressed as a woman carries the sacred Karaga on his head. The Karaga is a 3-foot tall floral pyramid symbolizing Draupadi. He leads a nighttime procession through the streets of Old Bengaluru. According to legend, after the Mahabharata war, Draupadi created an army of warriors called Veera Kumaras to defeat the demon named Timirasura. When the Pandavas ascended to heaven, the Veera Kumaras asked Draupadi to stay. She promised to return once a year. The 10-day Karaga festival marks her annual return. The atmosphere during Karaga is electric. Drum beats echo through the night. Swords clash in dazzling displays by Tigala youth. Cries of Dik Di and Govinda fill the air. And the narrow streets are packed with people.
I'm not even on the main road, but the city, the old city, has truly come alive. Now the Bengaluru Pete is divided into various petes, like various little markets, and the name derives from the profession of the people living there, or perhaps what is unique, what is uniquely sold over there. Well, this is actually the garage where they place the rath or the chariot.
Over the years, many visitors to the Bengaluru Pete wrote about what they saw. The 1855 Gazetteer of Southern India describes the streets of the Pete. The houses are mud with flat roofs. The streets are open and well drained. The bazaars well supplied, and the town generally has a thriving appearance. If you look at the photographs taken by the British, you'll notice that
most of the buildings were either single-storied or two-storied buildings just like these. Of course, there's a lot of development here, but every now and then you're going to end up seeing a single-story or a two-storied building. Little slices of history.
one thing you quickly notice about the Pete is the abundance of places of worship. There are various Hindu temples, Jain temples, mosques, a gurudwara, and even a church. When Kempegowda founded Bengaluru, he invited traders and artisans from across the subcontinent to settle in his new city. Each community brought its own faith and traditions, and these places of worship reflect the rich diversity of those who made Bengaluru their home.
A lot of the older, more historic buildings are sadly being encroached upon in favor of modern skyscrapers like the one in the background.
We are walking through Nagarath Pete, historically known for its gold, silver, and textile traders. Even today, this area remains a bustling hub for jewelry, textiles, and metalwares. Running parallel to us is Kumbarpete, once identified with clay pot makers of the Kumbar community. Today, these shops have been replaced by gift stores and general hardware outlets. We are going to take a slight detour. This is the MBT street.
Another temple. I actually started exploring this place back in 2021, just after the pandemic, and I came across a temple a Jain temple that was being renovated. Interestingly, that what I saw at that temple personified India perfectly. The old traditions meet the new modern technology. Today the renovations are complete, but the last time I came here, this sculpture here was renovated the old school way with hammer and chisel, while the other sculpture there was being renovated using power tools. But back in the Dharmarayaswamy temple, the Rath garage was closed. But here you get to see what it looks like. It's open. So you can see the wheels of the chariot or the Rath. You can see a little bit of the design up there.
Here is another example of an old shop.
Another example of our historic buildings being neglected, and probably it might get demolished shortly. Even accessing this place was hard. I'm actually between a rickshaw and a horse cart. Wait a minute. Talk about a hidden gem. None of my sources pointed me to this. Alright, a Dharmashala would mean a school where they teach young priests the Vedas and all that. Looks abandoned. It's in a very poor state, but I wish I can find out more about this.
Unfortunately, there isn't any information available on the Dharmashala, and even the locals here don't seem to know much about it.
Alright folks, we are approaching the Avenue Road intersection. So this is where the Old Taluk Cutchery Road intersects with the Avenue Road, which the Avenue Road runs from the north to south. And few modern cities can point to a spot and say, that's where the city began, that is where it all began. Well, this intersection is that spot. This is where Bengaluru began. This is the Avenue Road going north, and behind me is the Old Taluk Cutchery Road which we are walking on. And right here is where Bengaluru began.
In 1537, Kempegowda marked the boundaries of Bengaluru by ploughing the land with 4 pairs of white oxen. Where the oxen had stopped, he built the city's gates, defining the limits of the original mud fort. The path they traced became the city's 2 main roads. When I first visited here in 2022, 2 older structures stood here. Today, 2 buildings are under construction here.
The area I'm walking on is called Chickpete, which is famous, probably even world famous for shopping. You find all kinds of sari here made out of silk, cotton, even some more modern materials. We also find jewelry, and it's, I think, paradise for those who want to buy a lot of clothes. Another example of old meeting new. This is a fairly modern building. It's a building from 1951 next to a building from 1909. One thing you notice when you walk through the road is that not everything is as it seems, really. What looks like a small entrance to a shop ends up being a gateway or doorway into a giant courtyard. For example, here, this is the building which says Silk Museum on top, but hidden inside is a real historic gem.
The Mohan Building is one of the oldest surviving commercial buildings in the area. According to local legend, when Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's father, Shahaji Bhosle, was a Jagir here, he lived in a place called Gauri Mahal, believed to have once stood in this very spot. Over the years, the building housed a municipal dispensary, an eye infirmary, the city central police station, the district police office, and the sub-registrar office. However, the earliest documented use of this site was as a government building housing the Taluk Cutchery or the administrative office, which gave this road its name. All my filming caught the attention of one of the shopkeepers, who invited me to the first floor of the Mohan Building, a space usually closed to the public.
Oh, nice. It's old building. Oh, yes. Last time I came, this was locked actually. Beautiful. Here we are.
This is hotel. This police station.
Okay, one second. So this was part of the hotel, huh? Wow. Amazing. And this side, police station.
Yes.
That side. The opposite side was the police station.
By the early 1900s, the police complained the building had become overcrowded and run down. In 1905, the building was auctioned and sold to businessman Haji Ismail Said for Rs 30,000 on the condition that he would demolish the building and build a new one.
Oh yes, this is the OTC road we are actually walking on.
Pura police station.
Ah, you can see police station.
In 1909, Syed constructed the Ahmed Buildings. The police department, despite complaining about the location and structure, rented 2 rooms on the first floor and continued to operate a police station there.
This side, ये police station, huh?
हाँ पूरा ये साइड में पूरा police.
Full police station. Nice.
In the mid 1940s, the building was taken over by the Income Tax Department. It was auctioned again and was purchased for rupees 5 lakhs by Mumbai-based entrepreneur Nandlal Kapoor. He renamed the building the Mohan Building after his youngest son, Mohanlal. The ground floor was occupied by shops, while the upper floor became a lodge called Bombay Anand Bhavan.
Part of the hotel, huh?
Old print.
Ah,
Old print.
old print, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Was this part of the hotel as well?
Hmm.
Oh, nice.
Hotel.
Hotel, wow.
This
Really?
was print.
Get a fairly decent sized room. Yeah. Amazing. Cool. Step up. Room number 13.
Only for room, sir. Only for super room.
Okay.
Normal.
Normal, huh?
Yes, sir.
Look at the intricate details on the wall. That's gorgeous.
This is old designs. Super.
Super, yeah. Really super. See the washrooms area. Nice. Oh yeah, you can imagine this being for the hotel rooms. Lodging customers. Yeah.
इधर सब लव रूम था.
Oh, that type. Huh?
पूरा वो साइड में होता है, इधर लव रूम अच्छा.
Oh, okay.
One room.
111, huh? You can see the old board over here, huh? Bombay Anand Bhavan. Lodging. All right.
Architecturally, the Mohan Building is a striking 2-story structure. Its exposed brick facade, semicircular arches, wooden carvings, lime plaster details reflect early 20th century style. Inside, it features traditional Madras terrace roofing, sloping tile roofs, a central courtyard lined with retail shops, and an upper floor veranda that overlooks the street.
You know, I've been trying to go upstairs for so long, but it has always been locked. जी आपका नाम क्या है?
ईशान प्रजापति.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमें ऊपर दिखाने के लिए. बहुत ट्राई कर रहा था 2-3 महीने पहले, कुछ महीने पहले यहाँ आया था, सब बंद था.
हाँ जी सर.
बट अभी लेके जाने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू वेरी मच. This side is actually giving me a lot of Jerusalem vibes. You know, you enter a small door and it's a giant courtyard. You walk through a small lane and you enter another lane filled with shops, and that's precisely what it is here. So this is the Mohan Building. We kind of exited from the other side, and in this lane is even more shops. There's commerce everywhere. Okay, we are back onto the OTC road, and let's continue our tour.
Chickpete in Kannada means small market town. For over 250 years, Chickpete has been one of Bengaluru's oldest and busiest commercial hubs. In 1856, Richard G. Hodgson described the shops. The walls and floor are of earth, the pillars wood. The flat roof is also of clayey earth, well beaten down so as to exclude the rain, and the front of it is ornamented with alternate streaks of red and white. The inside of the shop is also very different from English ones. There are no windows, nor any protection from the dust. It is all open in the daytime, with merely a mat projecting from the roof to keep off the sunshine. And at night, all is secured by wooden shutters. The shopkeeper sits either on the floor of his shop or on one of the lower shelves, which reach from side to side. He takes this position whether he is a goldsmith, a cloth merchant, a grocer, or any trade of this kind.
Well, all my filming caught the attention of some local businesses, and they just wanted to take the opportunity to spread the word, advertise on my channel.
सर मेरा नाम भरत है महादेव टेक्सटाइल्स दुपट्टा अंडरगारमेंट ओनली होलसेल
Today, Chickpete remains a bustling marketplace. Though the city has modernized, traces of its past still survive. Every now and then, one can still spot an old single-storied building that looks just like the one Hodgson described more than 150 years ago. Historically, Chickpete was primarily a residential area. But after the plague outbreak in the late 19th century, many families moved to newer localities like Malleshwaram and Basavangudi, transforming Chickpete into a predominantly commercial area.
It's only 11:30 in the morning and it's so crowded. There's no place for cars to go on. I can only imagine how busy it gets in the evenings. Alright, we are almost at the end of Chickpete. We are approaching BVK Iyengar Road. You saw how difficult it was to drive in here. Single lane, people everywhere. And now here, this side, you got a double lane with a divider. It's so off character.
This is the Sri Raghavendra Swamy Mutt. Locals believe this mutt is over 290 years old, making it one of Bengaluru's oldest religious sites. At its core is a sacred Brindavan, reportedly built using stone from Sri Raghavendra Swamy's original shrine in Mantralayam. Sri Raghavendra Swamy was a revered 17th century saint of the Dvaita Vedanta tradition. He was known for his devotion, teachings, and miracles. His tomb at Mantralayam remains a major pilgrimage site. Even today, many believe his spiritual presence continues to guide and bless devotees.
जब राघवेंद्र स्वामी जी उधर मंत्रालय में वृंदावनस्थ हो गए, पहले दक्षिण भारत में ये मठ पहला सा मठ है और 1731 नाम से ईस्वी से ये प्रतिष्ठापना हो गया। इधर ये पहले उधर था, वो जब उधर पीठ है उधर में था, उधर से इधर शिफ्ट किया। इधर से भक्त लोग जब दर्शन करने के लिए आते थे, इधर से क्यों खड़े हैं तो उधर बड़ेपेटे सर्कल है, वो बड़ेपेटे सर्कल तक जाता था। सभी लोगों को अनुकूल होने के लिए ये उधर से इधर शिफ्ट किया। इधर था ये स्थल में एक लकड़ी वाला व्यापार करता था, वो छोड़ता नहीं चाहता। बाद में उसको बता के, उसका इतिहास बता के ऐसा करो बोल के उससे मांग के दान से ले लिया। फिर भी उसको उपजीवन के लिए थोड़ा पैसा दे के बाद में दे दिया। फिर भी यहाँ आता रहता है, दर्शन करके जाता रहता है। बाद में ये बड़ा कर दिया।
Today, amidst Bengaluru's busy market streets, it remains a peaceful sanctuary of prayer and tradition. In 1917, A.R. Khaleel started a bicycle shop in Jalahalli, which was then a World War I prisoner of war camp. He later moved to Nagarath Pete, where he sold lamps, stoves, and also serviced temples and municipalities. His firm, Khaleel and Sons, became a key distributor of top watch brands. In 1955, they built the Khaleel Building, a two-storied structure with a four-face clock tower that still works. The business wound down its watch trade in 1995, but the building remains active with shops. Opposite the famous Khaleel Building is a narrow lane known as Bathing Ghat Lane. It derives its name from a municipal bathhouse that once stood here in the 40s. Until recently, a plaque marked its inauguration on the 20th of November 1940. Sadly, the structure was demolished and replaced by the City Market Police Station.
So after the Khaleel watches, this is the second famous watch store, the T. Ramarao. And as that board says, it was established in 1925.
It's getting busier and noisy, making it hard to film. I think it's best if I return tomorrow morning. Good morning. We are back in the Bengaluru Pete and we begin at Balepete.
Alright, we are entering the Balepete road, and on the opposite side we can see a temple that would have been in the cacti patch. We are currently walking on what would have been the cacti patch.
A British era map indicated that a series of temples once stood on this stretch. And they're still here today. Once known for selling bale or bangles and musical instruments, Balepete now sells all kinds of goods. But its old buildings, narrow lanes, and ancient temples still echo the Bengaluru of the past.
To be honest, I'm a little disappointed. I've not seen a single bangle store nor any shop selling musical instruments. Wow, check that out.
Just before the junction to the OTC stands one of Bengaluru's oldest restaurants, Udupi Sri Krishna Bhavan. In 1902, Mr. Ramahola set up a hotel called Udupi Hotel at Balepete Circle. His nephew, Mr. H.V. Janardhanaya, bought a place on Balepete Road. By 1926, he established it formally as the Udupi Sri Krishna Bhavan. If you happen to visit here, I recommend trying the sagu dosa and the badam halwa.
finally, a Bengal store in Balepete. There are two of them actually, even that over there is a Bengal store.
I returned later to visit these bangle shops when they were open.
Well, how about that? You can still get your bangles here at Balepete.
We are approaching the Balepete circle, the junction where the Balepete road meets the OTC road.
Now, if you follow the map the British left for us, at the end of the Balepete road, there is a temple.
We are back on the OTC road. Ah yes, the musical instrument shops. These were traditionally found in Balepete, but it seems many have moved here to the OTC road, likely drawn by the heavier foot traffic and better business opportunities. As seen on the map, the road gently curves north. We are approaching the old grain market.
I am on the Akkipete road. Akki means rice, so basically this is the rice market of the day. Further down south is actually the Ragipete. So ragi is finger millet. I'm guessing this is the grain market. You get all your natural food. But well, this place is not like that at all today. You see all sorts of general stores, medical stores, department stores, restaurants. A lot has changed here. Alright, I'm actually cutting through one of these smaller lanes to reach Cottonpete.
As this is not one of the main roads of the Pete, a lot of the older buildings are still here.
Right, we are on the Cottonpete road, a road that must be familiar. We have seen this road from the north, the northern edge, and the southern gate from the Mysore road down to the Cottonpete police station. And in the middle, it looks like this.
Cottonpete, also known as Aralipete, was the center of the city's cotton trade. This is the Aralipete Basaveshwara Swamy temple.
We are back in the OTC road and we are backtracking a little bit. So I backtracked for this precisely. This is one of the largest and the oldest Dargah here in Bengaluru.
This Dargah, the Hazrat Tawakkul Mastan Dargah, plays a role during the Karaga procession. The Karaga bearer stops here where the Muslim custodians offer prayers and blessings.
Alright, we have crossed the road and reached the last stretch of the OTC.
The Sri Veerabhadraswamy temple marks the end of the Old Taluk Cutchery road.
In true old city fashion, we got a temple to mark the end of the city. And behind me is the road we walked past in the last episode. That is the TCM Royan Road. So that is the western edge of the OTC road. It ends over here in the western boundary.
The Old Taluk Cutchery road may not feature in tourist guides, but it quietly holds centuries of stories. Our journey through the Bengaluru Pete isn't over yet. In the next episode, we walk down one more street, perhaps the Pete's most iconic street, the Avenue Road.